Either one of you guys watch Drumline?
I have seen it multiple times. I don't know why. So I did not rewatch it, but I'm pretty intimately aware of what happens in that film.
So
And Wesley, have you?
I have watched it. I did not watch it in lieu of your recent curveball because I got about halfway through Benchwarmers and I was like, well, fuck that. I'm not watching Drumline. So I did the Cliff Notes version. I watched about 14 to 15 scenes on YouTube in order to bring myself back up to speed on the little nuances, read the plot, made a lot of sense. Some things I remember, some things I was like, oh shit, I totally forgot about that. Especially with Orlando, the Sprite guy. Yeah.
It's Clifford Washington, right? That's his name from the fucking Replacements.
Yeah, as the band leader or conductor or whatever. Yeah, so yes, did not rewatch it, but I'm pretty up to speed.
Okay, well, I got to tell you, it's 82% fresh on the thermometer on Rotten Tomatoes, which this is the telling factor here, though. Only 70% for an audience score, so it's still fresh, but not quite as fresh as the critics might review it. I have some theories on that. Alan said that what was your exact quote about why you were glad I did this so that I'd have to watch a black movie?
Predominantly black movie, yeah.
Which I have.
Your take on it?
I have no problem with it. The blackness of the movie. Here's what I'll say. It's done. One, I don't think critics were as critical of this particular film because of the era in which we were getting into back in the mid-2000s when this movie came out. What I'll say is it is a classic white coming-of-age story simply done like 10 years after most of your classic white coming-of-age movies. Almost like the black community was just like, yo, fuck those white movies about coming-of-age. They don't apply to us. But then you realize through watching Drumline that there is a universal point that is made in all of these types of films, that there is no racial barrier when it comes to coming of age. It's just this is the way it happens for everyone. And it's a very uniting film if you've never watched it. Nick Cannon plays a kind of a drumline aficionado. He's like the first round draft pick to an all black school. He goes there. Of course, he's cocky, can't read music. But he's still the cock of the walk, baby. He's still the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, the Bret Hart of drummers on the drum line. But he's got some growing up to do. You know, he's got to face up to the guy who used to be like him, who learns. They learn from each other. He's a hard ass to Nick Cannon, but Nick Cannon then learns that hard assiness is all about love. And he just needs to learn respect. Yeah. And that's what comes from this film.
Friends become enemies, enemies become friends.
Yeah. Yes, and giving away to the old way of thinking, because even Dr. Lee, played by Orlando Jones, he is stuck playing the classic hits, and finally learns through his students that maybe that this new age music that we've all begun to love, the pop music, if you will, it has some musical credibility, and maybe he too should embrace the new type of drum line that could be present if he would only change his old ways.
Yeah. It can't always be Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go to the Superdome in New Orleans and take your band, you better fucking play Petey Pablo, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Petey Pablo is going to perform with your band.
Petey Pablo is going to fucking come out with your band. It's going to be a thing. So, yeah. No. Yeah. It is actually not a terrible movie.
Like, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not 82%. That's for fucking sure.
And what I'll say about it, though, as far as it being a predominantly African-American movie, it couldn't be done with white people. White people don't have enough rhythm to perform in a movie as such. In fact, what I also found pretty fascinating about this is, like, your all-white movies from, like, the 90s, which is essentially what this is, just done in black form, is that they all had the token black guy in them that had to learn the culture along the way. Well, this too has the token white guy in it that has to learn the culture along the way. I think if white folk would watch Drumline and black folk would go back, what would be a comparable movie to something like this?
Well, you're not going to get any type of like coming of age band movie from the 80s. I don't know, like Breakfast Club.
Okay, maybe not Breakfast Club.
Too white though.
That's way-
That's the problem. If we can find, it could be all white movie. It just needs to be about a topic that's reasonably flavorful. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, Molly Ringwald is mayonnaise personified. Like, it's
Point. Good
I
point.
would say like a movie like Rudy, like it may not translate to the black community because the black community is so much better at sports than we are. They'd be like, why that white boy even on the team? Like they wouldn't understand. But maybe through his tenacity, they would be like, okay, maybe we're all kind of the same, just a little bit. And then watching Drumline, it's like, oh, maybe we're all a little bit Nick Cannon. So maybe I think I think if you could maybe put like some white supremacists in the room with Antifa, like maybe we could have like a little bit of a conversation in this country to get us somewhere.
Like
Yeah.
higher learning.
Look, I think you're right. I think you're on to something. But there's always like, there's the risk, right? Let me play devil's advocate. Let me like
Okay.
a fucking conservative guy fucking watches Drumline and he was like, he's never going to succeed because he's a inner city thug. Look at him. He can't deal with authority. And then he turns the movie off. And then he just goes through the rest of his life being like, them inner city thugs, they can't make drum lines because they can't comport themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a contingent that watches that movie and is like, see, N-word. Like, they're going to think something like out of pocket for no fucking reason.
But if they finish the film,
If they
finish
do-
the film,
Yeah.
Yeah. This to me, this also had like a very like Coach. Do you guys remember Coach?
yeah.
Christ, what was the unnecessary roughness? You have Atlanta A&T, so you got to have the fake college, and then it's this hard ass. It kind of, first of all, it separated the marching band from this like militant style, left, right, left, and we're going to play John Philip Sousa at halftime. There was a hip hop element to it. Christ, I remember around that time when Vince Carter got drafted, they showed him. He wasn't in the band, but he was a band leader at his high school. And they showed a video of it, and these motherfuckers were like getting down at halftime. Vince Carter didn't play football. These motherfuckers. This turned into like, and I'm not saying this as an insult. It was like a goddamn, like a goddamn jamboree going on at halftime. It was a show, and I think Drumline tried to bridge that gap between what people, marching band is cool. Okay, marching band is cool. This was made in 2002. But then it got into this thing where it was like, you are going to work harder than you've ever worked in your entire life. And these guys doing all these push-ups and shit. And I was like, fuck, man, I get that marching band is strenuous and requires a certain amount of physical activity. But don't sit here and be like, this is it. You're going to drag this goddamn snare drum around. And you're going to be a goddamn machine. You're going to be more in shape than the fucking football team. That's where I was like, all right, this is a bit corny, but it had to be corny to an extent.
I will say though, that's one of the cultural things, right? Like, they take that shit that seriously down there. Like,
Sure.
So, yeah, like, I agree with you. I was like, what? Go and see, why are they hazing him in the rain? He just plays a snare drum, and he doesn't even have to carry it. It's strapped to him. Like, I don't understand. But they do take that shit super. That shit's more important than their shitty football teams.
True.
Like,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like, you don't go to the Grambling game to watch Grambling. You fucking go for the band.
Yeah, to the fictitious Atlanta A&T.
Correct.
The football or the marching band superseded the football team. The other thing that was pimped too was also that they had that homecoming game where the opposing teams what was it the opposing team's band broke out the baby powder. And then Nick,
that's
and
right.
then started playing it, and a riot broke out. That was not choreographed, man. It was a fighting each other at the half field.
Like that right there, that would have been like, see, they can't have nice things. There's going to be one white guy who sits down to watch that shit and be like, that's why. And like,
Now, why would he hit his drum?
why would he do that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have to know that's disrespectful.
He egged him on. Well, you know what? I'm not saying I don't condone it, but he deserved it. You know what if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Why in the world would they put two bands on the same field during a homecoming? They got to know these people. The tensions are high. All right, so it's a rivalry, and something's going to get out of hand.
He definitely was going to say these people.
and these band leaders, they don't have control. They don't have control of their players. It's just
A fight's breaking out. They're still chopping their hands up and down with the goddamn baton in their hand, like they're still leading something.
It's like next year they need to increase police presence. That's all I know.
It's like a West Side Story broke out. That's what they should have played. West Side Story kept things civil.
They need to lead them down to the penitentiary, if you ask me.
Why did two white guys and a Nicaraguan guy start making fun of white people?
Why not?
Because we're ripe for it.
Yeah, it's easy picking sometimes.
Oh. But I will also say, I was a little, I don't know, man. You had old Zoe Saldana.
So young and Zoe Saldana. Yeah.
Well, young, you can't tell. There's no difference between, like, whatever.
That's true. Chocolate don't age, sir.
Oh, man. Oh, just as fresh as the day it was packaged, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so that, my friends, is my official review of my good bad movie, Drumline. I recommend, but don't look to be blown away, but just look to be like, hey, we're all the same. It's a cultural movie that should be cherished by all.
Yeah, look to be snared away.
God damn it.